Hello, it's Wednesday evening. We just had Dee Dee's live stream from Downsizing Diva, and I enjoyed I enjoyed it. I enjoyed the chat and the interaction with everyone. Um, I was joking around quite a bit tonight, given the subject matter of the skinny talk from TikTok, which I'd never heard of until tonight. And in one of my comments, two of them actually, I indicated that it sounded like these people that made these uh, less than helpful comments on Skinny Talk sounded like they were dealing with anorexia nervosa and bulimia culture. That's what it sounded like. And I know this is a very sensitive topic for a lot of people. Um, and I made jokes that I was going to find them and I was going to stir the pot because of the somewhat obnoxious comments that were made. Um, and I was all set to do that and make a video over it because of a couple of you thought it was funny, um, as did I. But I looked up the skinny talk on Google and read more into it. And the description of it is disordered influencers, a group of people with eating disorders, and skinny culture and somewhat dangerous content. And another comment that I had made was hurt people hurt people. And I'm not chickening out, but I thought about it. And when I read what Google had to say about the group, and it gave a lot of detail and information, it was quite a bit actually, I decided I'm not going to do that. I'm not going to do that for a few reasons. One is that I was hospitalized when I was 20. Actually, I just turned 21. I was hospitalized for anorexia, nervosa, and bulimia. And that's how I started my adulthood. And my childhood was full of disordered eating. And I was the fat kid, the big kid, the kid who was always in tears because I was always getting made fun of. I was always getting bullied. I was in a body brace, fiberglass body brace. Um, for any of you that may not know, a fiberglass body brace is like a really hard plastic. You tap it and it makes quite the sound. And I had to be in that 23 hours a day for scoliosis, curvature of the spine. That's when I was a teenager that I was put in that, in my very early teens. And I was bullied basically my whole life, of school age, I should say, from elementary school through high school. Especially when I was in that brace, I remember going up the stairs and often kids would yank on the back of my brace and pull me down the stairs. I remember crossing the street one day going to school in high school, and a truck honked me and yelled out an obscenity at me, calling me a fat F, telling me to move it. And the funny thing about that is I look at the pictures of me growing up and I look at kids today. I was not nearly that big. I was chubby and I was tall, but I was not obese by any stretch of the imagination. Nevertheless, I was a moving target, like I said, for most of my life. In fact, I stood up for a friend of mine in 6th grade, 2 weeks before graduation, because in New York, you go from elementary, from kindergarten through um, 6th grade, and then you move on to junior high school, 7 through 9. Yeah, 7 through 9, and then you graduate again and you go to high school 10 through 12. And I actually skipped my high school graduation because of my weight. 2 weeks before 6th grade graduation, I stood up for my friend because no matter how much I got tortured by other kids, I couldn't stand other kids being tortured. And I got beaten up pretty bad and missed the last 2 weeks of school because of it. And the names, the name calling, all kinds of nasty tricks, even sexual innuendos, and just horrible, horrible things that I don't think most kids would survive today, to be honest. After thinking about it and knowing what I know now from Google, that these are people with serious eating disorders, I'm not going to stir the pot. I'm not going to go and stalk these rooms and start stuff. You know, I'm 54 years old now. The truth has come out. I'm not 108. And I have areas where I still have real self-esteem issues. But I have other parts of me that is really confident. Certainly not the kid that I was growing up, being bullied. And, you know, there's nothing, honestly, which is sad, that would give me greater amusement than to mess around with people. But given that I know these people actually really are of the culture of eating disorders, and being someone who is from that culture, which is why I recognize those statements, and still struggling, but now with binge eating disorder, or known as BED, I'm going to leave it alone. I don't think that it's going to be amusing at all, knowing that these people have serious issues, and also knowing that if I go in there and say something to stir the pot, I don't know what the consequences would be, how somebody might take it, and I don't want to cause further damage to people that are clearly already damaged. So I'm not going to do that. I